Well, if you singing in your class, brother, the way that you were singing on this stage, these children are going to get all A's. They are going to ace all of their tests, and they are going to be more than ready for college, high school, PhDs, all of that. If you singing to them like you sang to us on this stage, sir. Hello and welcome to the Pitchy Podcast. My name is Stephanie. Here on the Pitchy Podcast, we are passionate about good music and a great vocal. We'll use the vehicle of NBC's The Voice to give you our takes, my take, and my feedback on each artist, their voice, and their overall performance. Now, here on the Pitchy Podcast, we will always keep it 100 with our takes and our feedback, but what we are never here to do is come for any artist as a person or their character or them as a human being. While we may come off a little pitchy at times, if you know what I mean, we will do our best to speak our truths with love, kindness, and respect. And with that, we are here to discuss Night 6 of the Blind Auditions of NBC's The Voice, Season 28. This is our last night of blinds, and it was an interesting night in a couple reasons. Number one, we had a wide range of artists come through for the blinds this evening, which was cool to see. A lot of different genres, a lot of different personalities, a duo. It was an interesting night with a lot of interesting artists, but also this was the second night in a row that it was a full 2-hour new episode of Auditions. I think because it was the last night, they tried to fit them all in. By the time we left this episode, all 4 coaches' teams were full. So let's go ahead and see how they rounded out their teams. So first of all, we started off with Miss Trinity. Trinity is from Connecticut. I did not get her age. They did not reveal. She was one of those where they just kind of revealed her coming out on the stage. No B-roll before. Just started off the show with her singing. And if you are a 90s baby, a 90s R&B, a 90s kid, and if you love 90s R&B, you knew this intro the minute that it started, and you could sing the first line as Trinity came into the song. What's it gonna be? Hey, it was Don't Let Go Love by En Vogue. Okay. Now, she started, and the song starts with the chorus. And the chorus just comes in guns blazing. We are all in. There is no workup to the big impact part. It is straight in. And that is exactly how Miss Trinity delivered it. With power, with conviction, with assurance. Like, she was in attack mode right from jump. But then what I loved was when she got into the verse where it is a little bit more chill. It was just like, come on, Choice. Come on, Choice. Come on, piercing, incredible tone. Come on, incredible vocal choices and melodic decisions. Like, she was adding like jazzy sounding choices to the song that made it sound so fresh and so unbelievable. And then you get to the pre-chorus, I guess you would call it, where it's like, there'll be some love making, and she just sang that part. And let for those of you who do not know, and they said this, the coaches said this within their commentary when Trinity was finished. 4 ladies sing this song. 4 ladies. Trinity is a one lady, and the way she chose to arrange and the way she chose to sing what she sang, you could, if you didn't know 4 ladies sang this song originally, you wouldn't know by Trinity, because she just was really smart in how she chose to, again, deliver this song with making the necessary choices that she had to make so that the song still flowed the way that it needed to flow, but not leaving anything out, but also making just incredible choices. Then you get to the back end of the song, and this young lady was just doing the most incredible full throat up in the stratosphere singing I have heard on this show in a long time. She was singing her off. I was just watching live, like, oh my gosh, like, where has this chick been? Why does she not have like 6 albums by now? Why have I not heard of her? Because not only was she a powerhouse, she was really nuanced with her choices when she needed to be too. And her voice just cut. What was also so impressive with Trinity was that she, as the coaches were like losing their mind over her, because spoiler, she was a 4-chair turn. She it was as if somebody never told her that she could talk back to the coaches in the microphone, because she was just standing there like absorbing everything that they were saying, and like she didn't talk back. It was just kind of like, and like in the most humble, poised, beautiful way. I don't know Miss Trinity from nobody, but what I can tell you is that she is a beautiful soul. Some people's presence just precedes them, and just their aura, you understand who they are as a person. And I feel like just by her vocal, but also her poise on stage after the performance as the coaches were talking, I feel like I know who she is as a person. And I cannot wait to hear more from Miss Trinity. I cannot wait. So, again, she was a 4-chair turn, and she chose to go on Team Michael. So I am so excited to see the songs they're going to pick, how Michael is going to coach her, what he's going to, like, what is he going to tell her? Because she just seems to have it all together. But I think you like they say in football, like, you have good on good. So you have a Michael, who is just an incredible vocalist and artist himself, and you have Trinity, who is an incredible artist and vocalist. So I think it might be more of just like a collaboratory effort, which I am here for. So I cannot wait to see more of Trinity. So next up, we had a duo. They are called Letter to Elise. They are made up of 2 gentlemen, Elliot and Chris. They're from Buffalo, New York, and they did Take On Me, the AHA song. And I was really curious in their B-roll to see what they were going to sound like, because they are very different people. However, they're best friends, which I love. So, and it was cool because Elliot is an artist who auditioned, I forget what season they said he auditioned, but he auditioned as a solo artist and did not get a chair turn. It was one of the seasons that Michael was a member of the coaching panel, because later on in the B-roll, he was like, do I know you? Do I recognize you? And Elliot shared his story that he had already been there for the blinds and didn't get any chair turns. So they began singing, and they did a really cool version, like an updated kind of version to Take On Me, but it was still within, like, I recognize the song. They did not change it instrumentally or arrangement wise so much that I couldn't recognize it, but it just felt more updated. So Elliot was leading the song to begin with, and I was like, brother, did you just have a bad day when you did the blinds before? Because his voice was stellar. He had this really beautiful, rich, solid tenor vocal that just was so solid and such a wonderful foundation. And then you had Chris, he seems to naturally have a higher tone and a higher timbre to his voice. So he was doing the upper harmonies as Elliot was singing the lead. And then there was a portion where Chris took the lead and Elliot was doing some harmonies, I believe underneath of Chris's melody. I think that's correct. I know he was singing a harmony while Chris was singing the melody. So I thought as a duo, they sounded really good. I thought that Chris sounded the best in his falsetto and upper harmony and higher register. And I thought that Elliot was just a perfect frontman, a perfect lead vocal. And that's how I would advise them to move forward, because I didn't feel, and maybe it was just this song, but I felt like when Chris was singing the lead, he was not as strong as Elliot. But again, this might have just been the song. But I think singing together, I thought that they balanced each other out really well. And I think that they just connected and collaborated. Their voices collaborate really well with each other, if that makes sense. And I can see why they're a duo. And I'm really glad that Elliot was able to come back and have another opportunity and show what he could really do. They got 2 chair turns, and it was really cool because the coaches knew that it was more than one person, but I think that they were actually stunned that it was only 2 people. The way that they arranged the song, it made it almost seem like there might have been 3 or 4 people. So they were surprised that so much sound was coming from just 2 people. So Reba and Snoop turned, and they ended up choosing Reba. And if you have watched the show, you understand that Reba loved herself a duo or a group. She loved a good harmony. So she even said like she would rather just sing harmonies than sing the lead. So I was really, really glad that she was able to pick up a duo or group, because I know that she loves working with duos and groups. So I'm very excited to see more of Letter to Elise, which they said was that name is from a song by The Cure. Now, anytime anybody says The Cure, I want to hear love song. So Letter to Elise, can you give us a little love song? Let me know in the comments if you know the song I'm talking about. Love song is the jam. Ooh! So anyway, our next artist is Camille Tredoux. She's 26 years old. She's from Johannesburg, South Africa, and she sang Behind Blue Eyes by The Who. Ooh! Ooh! Camille's voice was probably the most unique of the night. It was, and I can't take credit for this description. I believe it was Niall and Michael that said she was a mix of Janis Joplin and Joni Mitchell. And I heard it. Oh, the character, the quiver, the emotion, the vibrato in her voice. She is one of those artists that when you hear, after you've heard her once, you hear her again and you can close your eyes and know it's Camille that's singing. Her voice was so unique. It was so full of emotion. And it just felt like every line that she sang it with intention. We have had some artists on this show where it feels like they have mapped out every melodic line in the song to sing it in a very specific and particular way so that it emotes the way that they want it to emote. It tells the story the way that they want to tell the story. So it feels like Camille was with a notebook writing out each line of this song and saying, I want to flip it up right here. I want to give more vibrato here. I want to pull back my vocal here. I want to really power through this part. Like that's what this audition felt like. It was powerful. It was rich. I was just like, emote queen. She was making me feel all the feels. I don't know this song, but after she was finished, I wanted to know the song and I wanted to hear more from Miss Camille. She was a 2-chair turn. Niall turned for her and Reba turned for her. And in the end, she decided to go with Team Niall. So I think that is a fantastic pairing. Niall is an artist. He's a songwriter. And I feel like the way he is intentional with lyrics, with delivery, with artistry, with instrumentation is a great pairing for Camille, who I feel is the same way. So I cannot wait to hear more from Miss Camille. Our next artist was Emmanuel Rey, 27 years old, from Inglewood. Snoop was very happy that somebody was from Inglewood, California, and he sang Primera Cita by, I'm going to say this name wrong. I was taught in Spanish class that C's can also make this sound, so I think it's Serene Leon. I hope I got that right. Let me know in the comments if I did or did not. I am more than happy to be corrected. So Emmanuel is a teacher, and he's a second grade teacher. And he said that he sang a lot in his classroom. Well, if you singing in your class, brother, the way that you were singing on this stage, these children are going to get all A's. They are going to ace all of their tests, and they are going to be more than ready for college, high school, PhDs, all of that. If you singing to them like you sang to us on this stage, sir. Oh my word. I don't even know if he was so suave. There's a term, suavemente. I don't even know if that's the right context to use for his voice, but he was so suave. His sound was so sweet. The way, and I think that this is just overall in Latin music, there is a attention to the communication of the lyrics that is almost automatic with Latin music. Like, the lyrics mean so much that the artist that is singing puts great care and great intention into how each lyric is delivered. And we find that in another, was that today? No, in yesterday's, we had another Hispanic artist who did an incredible job with emoting the lyrics and communicating the lyrics. And it was the same thing with Emmanuel. There was like this breathiness to his sound. There was passion, but then you had holleration. This song was a great choice because it showed his range. He had a great range, vocal range I'm speaking of. The soul, and this was interesting to me because in this song in particular, I noticed how well his breath support was, because the words were coming really, really quickly, and I was finding myself thinking to myself, oh, is he going to catch his breath? Is he going to run out of breath? Is his notes going to kind of fall off because he's saying so many words or so many phrases in a short amount of time, and then like having to pick back up, like it was like it was very quick. And there was never a time in this performance where I felt like he lost his breath and then lost his pitch. So excellent breath support. I don't know if he's had professional coaching before, but I just found that to be really, really impressive. It was just such a delightful, beautiful, passionate audition. And there was no surprise that he got chair turns. Absolutely no surprise. For me, he should have been a 4-chair turn, but that's just me. So the two coaches that did turn for Emmanuel were Michael and Snoop. And I think it was the Inglewood connection, because Emmanuel decided to go with Team Snoop. So I am so excited to see the songs that Snoop is going to give him, because this young man might have sang a Spanish song on this night. However, this young man can sing anything. So I cannot wait to hear more from Emmanuel. So our next audition was a quick clip, so I'm not going to say too much. I am going to mention her, though, because she was picked up on a team. She is Aubrey Nicole, 19 years old, from Littlestown, Pennsylvania, and she sang Burning House by Cam. I didn't know the song, and unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to know the song too much because, again, she was a quick clip. We did not see very much of her audition, but here's what we did see. We saw Miss Reba crying. We saw Miss Reba touched. What I did hear from Aubrey's voice very much reminded me of Shy from season 26, maybe the season that Sophronia won. It was this deep, rich voice that apparently touched Miss Reba to the point of tears. So I'm glad Aubrey made it, and I can't wait to hear more of her, because I love that kind of voice. We really enjoyed Shy on that season of The Voice. So if Aubrey's tone is anything like that, then I am here for it for sure. And I can't wait to get to hear more from her. I'm glad she made it on the show. Our next artist was Aaron Nichols, 37 years old, from Bakersfield, California, but living in Nashville now. Y'all, this was like the Chris Stapleton blinds. There was a lot of Chris Stapleton in the blinds this season, and Aaron blessed us with one of my favorites, Cold. Now, Aaron steps on stage looking just like Chris Stapleton. Okay, he had the beard, he had the hair, he had the guitar, he had the hat. And I was just like, oh, please let him be good. But based on how the show was going, if Miss Aubrey was a quick clip, I was pretty sure that they were going to have somebody good come after a quick clip. They weren't going to have somebody be cut after a quick clip. So I'm like, all right, Mr. Aaron's about to sing this thing down. And did he ever come out there sounding just like Chris Stapleton? Now, the beginning of Cold is low. And it can be very easy for any vocalist singing in a lower tone like that to not articulate their words and to have it not be clear what they're saying lyrically. And I thought that Aaron did a really great job of not only singing in that low tone, but also articulating the words. Like, this song is a lot of people know this song. So once it comes on, you can kind of just fill in the blanks. But for those of us that don't know the lyrics like that, it was great to hear him actually articulating the lyrics. At one point, he was like doing duets with his guitar, which always fascinates me when folks can sing and play at the same time. And when folks can like mimic and do duets with their guitar. And what I mean by that is they play a guitar line and sing that same line at the same time. It's so cool. It's so impactful. And then you get to the chorus. And it was just sheer holleration. It was sheer growl. It was gorgeous tone. It was passion. It was grit. It was sang down, but it was masculine at the same time. I just felt like, in a very controlled way, because he was never out of control. You can get very out of control with the song because it's such a desperate, such a passionate, such a heart-wrenching song that artists can almost have license to get a little bit out of control based on the lyrics, based on the melody, based on how that chorus is sung. Oh, why you gotta be so cold? And I thought that he was controlled yet passionate. Like, he was delivering it in a way that did not feel out of control, but also gave the energy, the intensity, the passion that we wanted, but also in a very masculine way. Like, it was rich, it was full, and he just sang that thing down. I think Chris Stapleton would have been proud of this audition and this rendition of this particular song. And when you have somebody like, when you're covering a song by somebody like a Chris Stapleton, it is a tall order. And I thought that Aaron did an incredible job, and that is why he got 3 chairs to turn. Michael Reba and Snoop turned for Aaron, and in the end, he went with Miss Reba. And I knew that based on the B-reel that he was probably going to go with Miss Reba. I believe Aaron was there with his mother, and I think he said, like, my mom was going to kill me if I don't pick Miss Reba. So, I cannot wait. I know I'm saying this about all of them, but I can't wait to hear more from Aaron, because if he given us this Chris Stapleton richness, I'm here for it for sure. So our next artist was Jerrell Melton. He's 29 years old, and he's from Fayetteville, Georgia, and he sang "Go the Distance" by Michael Bolton. Now, I didn't know Michael Bolton sang this song. I know this song from Hercules. I know this song from Disney's Hercules. So I'm guessing that Michael Bolton sang it for the soundtrack. But I was like, I know this from Hercules. So I was not expecting Mr. Jerrell to sing this song, but there was a really beautiful story about why. He sang it basically for his mother who had passed not too long ago. Now, when Jerrell started, it was a beautiful tone. He has a very like ballad singer, crooner voice that honestly we don't hear a lot, particularly from black men on this show. So it was really refreshing to hear like this round, clear, classical almost leaning tone come out of his throat. I said that he has a soundtrack voice, and I don't know. I think not that I don't know. I think some of it was the song and some of it is his tone. He has a beautiful tone and a beautiful sound that really lends itself to like a soundtrack song, like a Go the Distance. He communicated the song so beautifully. And, you know, he has one of those voices that depending on the year, depending what the coaches are feeling, like he could win because he has a voice where he could really just sing anything. I feel like he could give us some R&B. He could maybe dabble into country. He could do a standard. He could do a straight up ballad, Bruno Marsy kind of song. I feel like his voice, it could be very pliable to whatever genre his coach decides to throw at him. So I was really, really glad that he got a chair turn, and it was the right chair. Snoop turned for him, and as the coaches were talking to him and they were asking him why he picked the song, it came up that his mother had passed. And Snoop came up and gave him like the biggest hug, gave him encouragement. It was so beautiful. Uncle Snoop was Uncle Snoop this night because there were a few different artists where he was just speaking life into them, either artists who did make it or artists that did not. He had a beautiful moment that I'll talk about in our Patreon. Just in case you are not aware, we have a Patreon where myself and my wonderful co-host, who I forgot to mention was not going to be available for this particular episode. But if you are new here, I usually do these episodes with my wonderful host, James, who was under the weather. So he could not record with me today. But we on Patreon talk more about these episodes. We talk more about the artists that did not get a chair turn and just dive a little bit more into our personal thoughts about the episode. So we'll discuss more about how beautiful and how lovely of a human Snoop was, it's particularly to some of the artists who did not make it through this evening. But I'm so happy to hear more from Jerrell, and I am looking forward to seeing what song choices Snoop gives him. So our next artist was Elias Gomez, 29 years old, from Cincinnati, Ohio, and he sang Lonely Teardrops by Jackie Wilson. Now, I believe that Elias was the leak for Tuesday. I did not get a chance to watch it, just with time and everything. So, and I knew he was going to be on the episode tonight. So I was like, I'll just watch it. I'll just watch it when the episode airs. Wow. Now, I know earlier that I said that Camille had one of the most uniques of the night. This is rivaling it as one of the most unique voices of the night. Elias's voice was this most eclectic, interesting mix of like an old school sound with country twang, with a little honky tonk, with a little pop. It was so interesting. Like, it took me a minute to kind of get my bearings with his voice because it was so unique. I was trying to put his voice in a particular box and I was like, this is not working because this voice can't be put in a box. So let me just stop trying to do that and let me just listen to what he is delivering. And when I listened to what he was delivering, it felt so easy. Like his voice was so easy to listen to. He was hitting every note. He was giving us range. He was really beautiful in his upper register. And it was just like, yo, this voice is so fun to listen to. And the really unique spin that he put on this song made it sound so fresh. Like he could release the song today in his styling and in his arrangement, and it would be a hit. Like it's such an incredible voice. And I'm really interested to see what sound he's going to make. That sounds so weird. I guess more so like what song choices he's going to be given and whether this very unique sound is going to continue throughout the show, because he was a 3-chair turn. And I was kind of proud of the coaches because Bublé and Niall turned pretty quickly for him. And often when I hear a unique voice like this, as I mentioned earlier, I try to put it in a box. And this is where I'm like, okay, I see why Bublé and Niall are the incredible professional artists, musicians, acclaimed as they are, because they were able to not do what I did. They were able to hear Elias's voice for what it was, which is great, and press their button without trying to figure him out. And I actually really appreciated that, because once I stopped doing what I was doing and just listened to his voice, I was like, oh yeah, I would have bopped too, you know? So again, he was a 3-chair turn. Bublé, Snoop, and Niall turned for him, and Elias chose to go with Michael. So needless to say, I'm very curious, very excited, very interested to see not only song choice, but also to see what Michael, and if Michael is going to advise him about his voice and what to do with it and what melodic changes or what melodic choices to make. I'm so curious. I'm so excited to hear more from Elias. So our next artist was Alex Brown. Alex is 26 years old from New Hope, Alabama, living in Nashville now. And he sang How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? I did not write down who that was by. I forget. Well, Alex come out here singing like John B. Shout out to my 80s babies, my 90s kids. Y'all know who John B is. And looking like him too. If John B rocked a ball cap like that, he would look very similar to Alex, or Alex would look very similar to John B. But then he goes into this falsetto sounding like Prince. And then Niall put it all together very correctly in my brain and said that he was giving a Justin Timberlake kind of sound. And that's what it was. Because if you put John B and Prince together, you get that Justin Timberlake sound. And I was not expecting that. I don't know what I was expecting from Alex, but he opened up his mouth and I was like, ooh, the tone is really sweet. There was that quiver. There was the nuance in how he was making his melodic choices. You got the falsetto. He was communicating the song beautifully. And at a couple points within the audition, I was just like, take your time, sir. You fitting to just take your time and communicate this song. So go on, take your time, because you are serving right now here on The Voice. And it was so unexpected for me. I don't know what I thought he was going to sound like, but what he sounded like was not what I was expecting, but I was here for it. And when Niall put it within the context of him sounding like Justin Timberlake, I was like, absolutely. He sounds like Justin Timberlake singing a ballad. singing one of his ballads. It was a perfect description of what Alex's voice sounded like. So 2 chairs turned for him. And by this time, by Alex's audition, only Niall and Snoop had room on their teams. So Alex decided to go with Niall. I think they're going to be an awesome pairing. I hope Niall does give him some Justin songs, or some songs that could be pop with an R&B leaning, because I can really hear his voice doing some justice to some songs that are in that kind of genre scape, if you will. So very much looking forward to hearing more from Alex. Our last artist for the night was Miss Makenzie Phipps, 23 years old, from Blueville, Virginia, living in Nashville. And she sang 4x4 by You. Again, I did not write down who the artist was. So the only coach who had a spot on their team was Snoop. You have Miss Makenzie, who is a country girl. Girlfriend had the twang in her throat. Girlfriend had the grit and the growl in her throat. She was like a throwback 90s, sounding like Reba-ish, sounding like I'm trying to think of another country artist who has like that twang. Any of them country artists that had that twang, and like Dixie Chicks, like that thick kind of accenty, like twang country in their throat. That is what Miss Makenzie was given. And something that I have come to understand about Mr. Snoop D-O-double-G is that is the kind of country he like. He has had at least one other artist, country artist, female artist, that has had a similar thing to her voice. And so full disclosure, based on time, because Miss Makenzie went on around 9:40, 9:45, maybe even 9:50. The show ends at 10, so we knew what was going to happen. So based on that, but also based on knowing that Snoop loved him a country artist, particularly a female country artist, we knew she was going to be on Team Snoop. Now, it took him a while to hit his button, but we knew he was going to hit that button. She was hitting them notes. She showed range within this performance. She was telling. She's another one where I was like, you gonna tell this story, sis. Like, she was telling the story of this song, and I was thoroughly enjoying it. And it was so dear to watch her parents backstage. And they were just like her daddy looked like he was about to have a heart attack. And when Snoop hit his button, he was like, oh. And this night overall, if you watch the entire episode, it was a very emotional night for a lot of reasons. And her daddy just put the icing on the emotional cake. He was just so overjoyed. So needless to say, Makenzie ended up on Team Snoop. He is going to do her well. He knows how to pick really good country songs, and I think that they are going to be a really great pairing. I'm excited to see more from her and hear more from her, because I think she has star quality. She's just a star. And she's you could tell this is not her first stage. The way that she delivered her performance lets you know this is not her first stage, and she looks like she is willing to work for this. So I was really, really excited that she made it onto the show. All right. So this was an incredible episode, an incredible ending to the blinds. And next week, we are going to be into the battle rounds, one of my co-host James and my favorite rounds of the Voice season is the battles. I don't know if y'all picked up on this, but at the end, they kind of gave a little bit of a surprise, something to the artists as they were talking about the battles. Here's the surprise. The artists get to pick their battle partner. That's new for this season. So I'm very interested to see how that's going to work out. So without any further ado, let me let you know the things that you need to know. If you don't know, don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Pitchy Podcast on your favorite podcast platform. And while you are there, in particular, if you are on Apple Podcasts, would you please rate us with 5 stars and a kind review so more friends can find us, particularly those friends that are fans of NBC's The Voice. And then hop on over to YouTube, search for The Pitchy Podcast, and hit that subscribe button so you know when we drop a new video. Next, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Pitchy Podcast. And we are also on Blue Sky at thepitchypodcast.bsky.social for new episode alerts, episode clips, and so much more. Last, we are on Patreon. If you enjoy our conversation about The Voice on the main feed, join us over on Patreon, where we talk more in depth about each and every episode. There is a watch with me where I record myself watching an artist live on the show. And also, we talk about the artists that did not get a chair turn, and we have a great discussion over there. So for $5 per month, go ahead and join me or join us on our Patreon. $5 per month. You can join for free, and there's some content there, some access to previews of what the full content is, but for $5 per month, full content. Hope you join us there. Well, again, we hope that you will check us out next week for the battle rounds. And I really hope that you enjoyed the blinds so far. And we will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.